Hey guys, so got a new video for Path of Exile. It's going to be another part of the Armor Stacker for Dummies. And in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about timeless jewels. So there are two main timeless jewels that I like to use for Armor Stacker. And the first one is going to be the Brutal Restraint. And another one is going to be the Militant Faith. So in this video, we're going to go over those two jewels mainly. We're going to talk about when to use them and how to find them. Okay, so let's go over the Brutal Restraint. So first of all, when do you want to use this? And so out of all the jewels, this one is probably going to be one of the more useful ones and most often used because it does have quite a lot of good mods on it. Let's take a look at some of the mods. So one of the best stats you can actually get on this Brutal Restraint is going to be the increased effect of non-curse auras, and this it rolls up to 8%. And you can get it on multiple nodes, and some of the best ones can have up to 24% increased aura effect, and some other good ones up to like 16. So that's quite a large amount of aura effect. You can also get frenzy charge on kill, you can get onslaught on kill, you can get attack and cast speed, and you can also get alchemist genius when you use a flask, which is pretty nice for like flask effect and this kind of stuff. It also does convert all of these small nodes around in the area, and it makes them have dexterity, so that does basically solve your dex issues on a lot of these builds. And we are usually going to be slotting it into this slot over here on the near the Scion starting area. So when do you want to use this? So I think in general, a Brutal Restraint is going to be the go-to jewel for most builds. And let's go into the next one real quick. So you're mainly going to be using this if you want to play Transcendence, because this can roll the Transcendence Keystone when you have the Conqueror set to Marxus. And I guess there is some other useful things. There is like reduced mana cost of skills, which is actually pretty helpful in reducing the mana cost of your Grace Aura. So basically with the Militant Faith, and if you have the reduced mana cost of skills roll, then if you have a decent amount of devotion, you pretty much only need a flask, inspiration, and that jewel, and your Grace Aura is going to be free. So that's pretty nice. And you can also roll increased effective non-curse auras per devotion, and usually you're going to have about 16 to 17 or 160 to 170 devotion, so that means about 16 to 17% increased aura effect, which is pretty decent. Okay, so when do you want to use a Militant Faith? And the main reason to use one is going to be if you want to run Transcendence, or if you want the added utility of having reduced mana cost of skills being taken care of by your timeless jewel. You don't want to run any rings with reduced mana cost, or you don't want to have any extra jewels with reduced mana cost. Okay, so let's get into how to find them. So Brutal Restraint, a little bit easier to find, so let's go into the Timeless Jewel Calculator website. So I'll have a link to this page in the description. You can go check out. So basically you come here, and what you want to do is you click on the skill tree view. It's going to open this tree. And then what you do is you select your jewel. So let's go select the Brutal Restraint. And you do have to select a Conqueror for some reason. So let's just select any of them. Doesn't really matter. And then we click select stats. And we want to mainly look for the aura effect. So let's look for this. Okay, so now we want to place the jewel. So we're going to put it over here. And then you'll see it selects all of these nodes. So what you want to do is deselect. Okay, so now that we deselected everything, we're going to select the notables where we want the aura effect. So generally you want to select nodes that are easy to get, like something like this, because I mean, honestly, you're not going to path all the way to this just to grab aura effect. But these nodes are, these ones we already passed to, this one we passed to already, this one is easy to grab, this one's easy to grab. And maybe this one, this is also only 3 points to grab. So let's just select this. And then let's see. Then you can type here minimum of nodes you want to show up. So let's just select 2 and let's click search. So it's going to search and it found quite a few. So what you can do is the 2 matches are going to be when there's 2, and 3 is when there's actually 3. So you can see there is actually only 2 jewels that have 8 or 3 of these 8% rolls in the game, which is pretty interesting. And if we look for some other 2 ones, you can see there's quite a few 2 mod jewels you can find. And what you do is you can either search for each jewel individually on trade like this, or what you can do is just click the trade button and it opens a big search window for you, and you can find all of them basically. Okay, and it did find some. So you can see you can find some timeless jewels for a very cheap price, and maybe select the other Conqueror too. I'm not really sure how this is all working. Oh, it is selecting all of them. I guess. Okay, so never mind. You just have to keep one of them active. And you can see there are quite a few timeless jewels for very reasonable prices that have 16% R effect. Okay, so that's basically how I find my timeless jewels. Basically just use the calculator over here, select the nodes you want, and you can actually click on each jewel here and it shows you where the R effect will show up. And it'll also show you what all the other nodes have. So like this one will have 5% increased dex, and this one will have 20 dex, so that's pretty cool. Although you do have to spend 3 points coming down here to get your aura effect. This one too, there's 2 here. So now this one looks pretty good, right? Because you can get here and here. These are both nodes we already passed to. So take a look at some of these seeds and you can find some pretty nice ones that do give some other benefits. Like, let's just see. So this one here, this node here is going to give effective non-damaging ailments and chance to blind. That's kind of nice for defensive wise. This node is very easy to grab as well. And this one will give some life. That's useless. Movement speed, damage and poison. So that's kind of bad. But yeah, that's kind of the process I go about in finding the jewel. Okay, so now let's go over to the Militant Faith. Now, Militant Faith is a little bit harder to do, and you can't really use this calculator that much. Unless you're looking for a Transcendence jewel. In that case, we have to select Marxus, and then we do the same thing. We select the stats. And for Marxus, what you want to do is you want to look for +1 to all maximum resistances if you have at least 150 devotion. And the thing about this jewel is it actually replaces this actual node. So if you get it on this aura effect node, then you're going to lose aura effect. So ideally, you don't want to get it on aura effect, any of these nodes from the Militant Faith. And let's just search. So let's just search for one with this node here. And the thing is, it's going to search and find a whole bunch, but it's not going to tell you if some of these other nodes are being replaced by some other kind of passive, right? So you have to actually go in on trade, look at the jewel, copy it, paste it in your POB, and see if any of these nodes, important nodes, will actually leadership and powerful faith. Make sure none of these are replaced by anything bad. All right, so we did get our list over here, and we can go check some of these out. So let's just open one on trade, and then what you have to do is add this non-curse auras per 10 devotion, and if you want another secondary stat like reduce mana cost of skills, you add that too, and then you search. So let's just do this just for the sake of example, because we're not going to find a lot. So we got our jewel, let's copy it, and we go into POB, go over to items, and then we paste the jewel in, and then we just have to kind of slot the jewel in, and we just take a look. Okay, so did it replace leadership? No. Did it replace foresight? No. So this is a good jewel. It didn't even replace Harrier. So that's kind of how what you have to sort of do to sort of find your jewel. And this process does take quite a bit of time, and so that's why Militant Faith, finding them is a little bit annoying, and maybe there is a better way, but it's just kind of how I am doing it right now. Alright, so that's going to be it for this one, guys. Hope it was informative, and if you have any questions or suggestions, post them in the comments, and I'll check those out. But see you next time.